We're here day 2 of Western Michigan football spring practice report, and again we're sitting down with Coach Fleck. And Coach, first question, just to kind of give a general synopsis of your thought of day 2.
We learned even more.
What do you want to learn? Obviously you want to learn a little bit of everything every day, but when you're going into the practice, you as coaches, what do you want to learn from your players on day 2? The energy, have they retained what you've taught them?
I think it's all about how they've handled the adversity they faced from practice 1 when they had a ton of energy. But walking out of there now, going into the film room to watch it yesterday, there were a lot of mistakes. So what energy did they come back with? Were they willing to correct those mistakes? And they were. And that's exactly what our coaching staff was looking for. They did that. But then day 2 presents more issues. You install something new. So you fix issues from practice 1, but now a whole new set of issues come out when you install a completely different set of offense, defense, and special teams. And that's what happened today, which is tremendous. That's what we want to happen, is continue to learn and continue to, make the corrections from the practices a few days ago.
And we're going to be talking with Jimmy Kristof in a little bit, so I wanted to focus a little bit on the offensive line. I noticed, interestingly, at practice, both Coach Callahan, our tight ends coach, and Coach Kenny, our O-line coach, are working with both groups. Is that by design? Is that by necessity?
Well, I think when I went into this, I wanted to make sure I had 2 offensive line coaches. I've always wanted to do that. Maybe because that's never been my expertise. It's always been some of the passing game. But when you sit there and look at it, Coach Callahan, with his plethora of knowledge that he's had in his type of career, and you look at Coach Kenny, which is second to none as you kind of go throughout the country, you have 2 phenomenal minds in that offensive line room. And they split up. We do more tackles, tight ends, and centers and guards. But they both communicate to our offensive line the same things. And it's amazing when you have 2 coaches. It's 4 eyes instead of 2 that see different things. And I think our players are really respecting what they're hearing and the type of coaching they're getting. And, we're trying different combinations and that type of thing. But like I said, their coaching they're getting is second to none. And won't find better coaching in the country than the 2 coaches we have here.
Final question. Obviously, offensive line may be one of the most important positional units in terms of cohesiveness in games. The line, whatever the starting line may be come August 30th, we don't know what that is, and they maybe have not played with each other a lot, but they've been teammates. How has that relationship been building through winter workouts and now into spring?
Well, I think they're starting to trust one another. And the one thing we're trying to do right now is not necessarily have a 1-line, a 2-line, and a 3-line. During the season, you might lose some guys, whether it's injury or whatever it is, and all of a sudden the cohesiveness of that first unit, now there's a new guy in there. So you've been working with some guy for almost a whole year, and all of a sudden he's out of there. So the cohesiveness is screwed up. What we're trying to do is almost break the offensive line on a daily basis, getting them being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And then once the fall hits, hey, that's our line, that's the one group, that's solid. But they've already known how to work. If something does happen, they know how to work and understand the person next to them now, and not like it's the first time they've got to know that person that's in there right next to them. So we're doing some things maybe a little bit differently. But like I said, that's how we've kind of like to do it, is find creative ways to be able to get better in case something does happen. But right now, we got guys like Jimmy just fighting their tail end off, and he's doing a hell of a job leading. And like I said, we're taking steps in the right direction with the offensive line.
All right, well, thank you, Coach. And as Coach mentioned and I mentioned, we'll be speaking with Jimmy a little bit later in the report. For now, thank you, Coach. And we're back now with Jimmy Kristof, offensive guard. Jimmy, you played 12 games last year, started 2. You knew what it was like to come into a line, having that line been working with each other. What does cohesiveness, how important is cohesiveness to the offensive line?
It's the biggest thing. As 5 guys, there's no other group on the field besides the defensive line working together, but nothing like the offensive line. You need the cohesiveness for every play, every snap. One person screws up out of the 5, blows the whole play up.
Now, you and Terry and Willie, you guys have, and John Hoffing, you guys have experience working together, maybe not in the same positions you will be in 2013. But talk a little bit about what the guys that left, what holes they leave on this offensive line, and who's going to fill those in?
Right. Obviously, Dan O'Neill, star right tackle. He left for the draft. So we got Taylor Moan, who is tremendous. He's a freshman. He's stepping up big time. He's going to be one of the great players here at Western Michigan. And over on the left side, Willie is there. Terry, who is now center, played left tackle for most of the year last year. So Willie's going to fill those shoes, and Terry gets to fill Kevin Gallagher's shoes, who was two-time Remington candidate. Big shoes to fill, but Terry can do it.
The offensive line, I talked with Coach a little bit about it. You need to be cohesive. How is the relationship on the team and on the unit, and then how, in general, has practice been going so far in 2 days?
The cohesiveness is great. On the field, tremendous. Off the field, even better. We hang out every weekend. We get together, watch TV, whatever it is. But that bond has never been stronger here, I believe. And practice is going great. 2 days in, you're going to expect. You gotta learn, like we're saying. You gotta learn every day. Day 2, day 3, we get to put the shoulder pads on a little bit, a little more hidden. But it doesn't really change much for offensive line, defensive line. But we're learning.
Final question. I want to have a little fun with you. Past 2 years, defensive line has been known as team train wreck. You can't let those guys get the better of you. Offensive line needs to come up with a name. Any suggestions as you sit here right now?
Steamrollers.
Why?
5 guys, big. You see the big steamrollers are rolling out the pavement. That's what we're going to do to the defensive line. We're just going to roll over them. I
love it. Hashtag Steamrollers, Bronco fans. That'll do it for the second edition of the WMU Football Spring Practice Report. We'll be right back here on Saturday to conclude Week 1.